Good evening, this is Avalon Caravan. Hope you're all well. Just thought I'd pop by, have a little chat as usual. Um, I've actually had a haircut this time, so I'm a bit neater for a change. Less grey, but there we go. That's what happens as you get older, unfortunately. What's been happening? Well, we're finished Christmas now, finished New Year. Apart from the usual paddling through tons of mud and this sort of thing, it's been pretty dire weather, I've got to admit, up here. I don't know what it's been like where you are. The only bonus is we haven't had any hard frosts, so I've managed to keep cold, sort of water coming in. The taps haven't frozen or anything, so that's good. Although we are sort of being forecast a bit of a cold snap for a few days next week, I think it is. So I have to remind myself to make sure I've got plenty of water in, because the taps are bound to freeze again, because they're just running through the sort of plastic sort of feed water pipes that go to all the animals and this sort of thing. So it's on the surface, a lot of it, and to metal standpipes. So as you can tell, that's just going to freeze up. So one thing to remind yourself whenever possible is make sure you've always got water in. Other things that are happening this week, which is great, I've got everything I need now. I managed to pick up my fireboard for the build of the surround for the wood burner. I was contacted by Glastonbury Burners to say they were ahead of schedule, and sent me an invoice, and it should be here tomorrow. I won't be fitting it probably till the end of the month anyway, because my friend can't get here, Mauve. I'll have to go and collect him, because he lives about sort of an hour and a half away, but it's good of him to come up and give me a hand. It's the old help thing again with the off-grid community. Great guy, makes some amazing candles. I've said it before. Have a look at Avalon Candles, Green Man Honey. They're two of his businesses. Super candles, all beeswax, pure, burn beautifully well as well. Anyway, that's a bit of a sidetrack again. What's been happening out there? Well, I don't know about your news feeds, but on my feed, everything is Viking suddenly. You got Viking strongman, which is fair enough. They've always been around right back to the sort of world's, strongest man competitions back in the sort of early 80s, 70s. I am a Viking I remember one of them's chant back then. But it just seems to have exploded suddenly. You've got lots of cosplay type women singing sort of songs, doing their makeup like Vikings, looking absolutely pristine, which I don't think that many Vikings did, to be honest. They probably weren't that pristine, I've got to admit. But it gets them plenty of views, doesn't it? We've even got Vikings who are, singers, which, again, traditional, good songs. Some of them are excellent, actually. There's one where they're singing sort of on the entrance to a big cave, which is just phenomenal. It really is. The acoustics are just incredible. And you've also got them life coaches almost, chatting to you over the internet, giving you words of wisdom. But, maybe it's just me, but there just seems to be this surge in sort of Norse mythology and people following Norse sort of gods and this sort of thing, which is, that's each of themselves. It's great, it's something different to see on sort of YouTube and the rest of them, to be fair. It just, sometimes you think to yourself, are these people real, or are they just doing it for the views? There's a lot of things like that. I've noticed the explosion of the camper van legs again, hanging out the back of their camper van with amazing views, swimming in bikinis in the middle of nowhere. It's not what it's about. Maybe it is for some of them, but for the majority of off-gridders, their life is sat in like this in a caravan in the dark, wading through the mud, taking the dog out, bringing bottles of water in, cramped, piled up caravans where you can't move, trying to keep warm under duvets and God knows what else during the day. It's not about sort of wading through beautiful, pristine, watery beaches and and mountain views everywhere. Yes, you can get that. I mean, I know a few friends in vans that tour sort of Wales and Scotland and have some amazing photography. But I'm talking about the ones that, a lot of them American, I've got to admit. Yeah, yes, it's a lifestyle video, and yes, I know it's pretty and it's great to watch and this sort of thing, but it's not real life. Come on, let's admit it, it's not real life. And you think to yourself, how many of these people are actually off grid? Can they go back? The old Trustafarians back to their sort of nice places at home. Plenty of money behind them, and do it as a career. To be honest, the vlogging, it's fair play to them if that's how they want to do it. That's fine. I prefer a more realistic view. I use this sort of thing mainly as a conversational tool. Yes, I'm not on my own as much as some people. There are some off-gridders that just don't see people at all. I live off-grid in a farm. I see the farmer. I see friends that come by. I work in town. I see people. But some of these people, do their own sort of Etsy type sort of businesses. They live in the middle of absolutely nowhere. And they have a tough life. I have it easy compared to some of these people. But then you describe my way of life. I've described it to people at work, and they think, how the hell do you do that? How do you go and sort of almost have a shower under a freezing cold tap? Just cold water. I see that as normal to now. I mean, today I've got to admit, it was just for luxury. I went round to my mum's and had a shower. Oh my God, warm water from above. Oh, just luxury, absolute luxury, and you can't. If you've got it all the time, it's not a luxury anymore. When I grew up, I didn't have showers. I had a bath, and that was it. We had a coal fire downstairs. We had a gas fire in the front room. Now that front room was only ever used at Christmas. We didn't go in there any other time, so that fire came on sort of 20 minutes before we went and opened our presents. Or we were under the tree, or we had a party at Christmas with the family, because every member of the family turned up. That front room was the front room. You didn't live in there. You didn't really go in there, to be fair. It was for special occasions. And I think people have, that doesn't exist anymore. There isn't that sort of thing of occasion, for the front room, the parlour, or however you want to call it. It doesn't exist now, which is a shame in some respects. But then I suppose it was a bit of a waste of living space, to be honest, But, that's how things were done. Why heat a room that no one ever uses? It saved money. The coal fire was in the living room, dining room, and the kitchen was there as well. But, I mean, that's past now. People have a different idea of luxury. What we thought was luxury then is just normality now. What I think is luxury now is a shower. That's luxury, and you appreciate these things. It helps you appreciate the life that some people have, and that you have sometimes. It was just amazing, to actually just turn that tap and you had hot water. To have that sort of luxury of a shower. I'm sorry, I'm going on about shower, but it's like it was a sheer luxury, and it was beautiful. Had a haircut as well. Like I said, went into town. I thought, right, I got some money from beating the other day. We got absolutely drenched as usual. It was literally running on the insides of the trousers again. It was so wet and windy. Had a bit of spare cash, so I thought, haircut, need it done. Okay, probably not the best time of year to have it done again, but it makes you feel fresh and as though you're looking after yourself a bit better. I was beginning to feel a bit, with all the weather and the darkness and that, and my hair was growing, I was looking a bit scruffy, and it's like, and you're going to work and you're thinking, what impression am I giving to people here? And sometimes you just got to bite that bullet, spend the money, and just tidy yourself up a little bit, which is what I've done. Well, I hope I've done anyway. But, that's all I really want to say. There's not much else I can say at the moment. I haven't been doing anything, like I say. I mean, the log burner's coming this week. It will be fitted this month at some point. and I will sort of document that as it goes along, hopefully to help people out who are thinking about it. Anyway, good night to you all and stay safe.